Hey, what's going on? It's Jason Lucchese and welcome back to our real estate channel here on YouTube. I am so excited that you are here joining us. We've got some really exciting stuff that we're going to be talking about with real estate investing. Now, we talk a lot about wholesaling, but we're going to be talking a lot about the real estate investing side. And I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. That's why I've got Mr. Michael Bretthauer with his Adidas jacket on. Mike, how you doing?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Glad to be here. And you're right. We've got a great topic, and I think everybody's going to walk away with something today.
Absolutely. And if you guys don't remember Run DMC, Michael is wearing the exact coat. He went on eBay, bought the thing that Rev Run used to wear, and he's got it on. How's it feel, Mike?
It feels amazing, Jason. I feel, albeit say, a bit tricky.
Oh, whoa, Mike. Wow. That is really, really good. So without further ado, we're going to hop into today's topic, and we're going to be talking about how you could get some really great deals at rock bottom prices right now. Mike and I have done some really cool videos for you here recently. One of the big ways that you could get rock bottom prices for properties is through tax delinquency. It's one of our all-time favorite strategies to use as long as you use it the most effective way, which we teach in our training, Tax Delinquent Blueprint. There is a really great way to do it. Mike, you and I have been talking to some of these folks in tax delinquency. Auctions are not stopping right now. Most states are completely open now. They're getting more and more open, which is great. Hopefully it'll start spurring more people to get out of unemployment, start getting more jobs and start helping out. But these auctions are not stopping. A lot of the folks that are like maybe over 60 and they're not working right now, they don't have the funds available to pay off their taxes. So what are you hearing from these folks? Are we still able to grab properties at rock bottom prices?
I'll tell you what, Jason, right now, if I can say this, you and I were talking about this a moment ago. We actually just had a student within our Tax Delinquent Blueprint strategy and training work with another student inside of our Tax Delinquent Blueprint strategy and training to close a deal, or to get a deal closed. I'm sorry, they're working on it right now, getting contracts signed and everything for somebody who's falling behind on property taxes because they created a win-win-win scenario. These people, they're falling behind. They are in a 100% I'm going to lose situation. And so what we've been finding out is when somebody like Brenda, one of the students, or Dave, or, those are the two students involved in this one, or Mike, myself, or Jason, when we can step in and present a solution, they get excited. They're finally like, oh, somebody's able to give me some options.
No, that's true, Mike. And, I'm glad Dave and Brenda are working together, getting that deal done. It's going to get them some cash in their pocket, and she's already got a huge pipeline of deals working. But hey, that's not why you're here. The main thing that I really want you to focus on is how you could get these deals. And we're not going to just be talking about wholesaling them. We're going to be talking about how you can get ownership in these properties. Again, I don't care if it's 1% or 100% into the deal. We want you to start getting into the phase of owning real estate, creating wealth, because everybody, ultimately would like to get rid of, properties and wholesale them. Lease options are great. Being able to do seller financing is great. But at the end of the day, by you owning real estate, either it be 1% or 100%, by you being able to stack and get more and more of those deals, you're going to be able to open up and be able to do so much more from a real estate investing standpoint. One of the great things my good friend Daniel Clayman does is he's got, a decent amount. He's got a really solid portfolio, but he uses that leverage of owning to get credit lines from banks. And those banks allow him to use those funds to do new construction. He's putting together multifamily properties over there in Richmond, Virginia. And he's doing some really cool things like that. So that allows you to do that. We're going to talk about how you can structure all these types of deals. So even if you don't have the cash yourself, even if you have poor credit right now, you're going to be able to know exactly from this video how to structure deals with sponsors, with individuals that have the cash, can get into the deal and give you a piece of it. Maybe instead of wholesaling this particular deal and making $10,000, $15,000, I know that might be hard. Now, if I would not recommend doing this particular thing if you really need the cash right now, do the wholesale. But if you could do this particular strategy and get yourself equity in particular deals, this is going to help you out from a long-term buy and hold strategy. This is going to be able to help create the wealth that you ultimately want in your business.
But Jason, why is right now 2021, right now we're in the beginning of 2021, why is right now the best time to get into not just, real estate investing, but actually owning some of these property?
Well, right now, the best time is we're seeing things that have been unprecedented. We've talked about things in the '08 crash. I feel right now we're leading really something that we've never seen before. We're going down uncharted paths. We somewhat forecasted what was going to happen because of the adjustable rate mortgages that were coming due, and the interest rates were going to be crazy high, making mortgage payments at a place where homeowners couldn't afford any longer. So with us moving forward here and having tons and tons, like millions of homeowners and renters right now, I think it's projected at 17 million across the country, which we explained in a few videos ago. And hopefully you watched that video because we explained some things really, really well for you. Hopefully you're able to grab and gain information from there. But 17 million homeowners, and between renters, so homeowners, renters, it's a mix, are facing some really uncertain and difficult times right now. So right now is a really great time for you to be focusing on being able to pair up individuals that could sponsor deals for you. And also to, let me see here on my sheet, you could use individuals that have self-directed IRA money. So this is a way for you to build up, and have somebody come into your deal. So that's what I mean by a sponsor, somebody that has capital. Maybe they don't want to be part of the deal. Maybe you went out, you found the deal, and you're able to orchestrate everything. You could get the purchase and sales agreements together. You found it from your marketing efforts, but maybe you don't have the capital to put into the deal. Maybe you can negotiate, hey, I would like to have 5% of this deal. I'm going to give it to you at this price. So you're creating what's called leverage and equity for yourself. So Mike, if we have a deal, we have it under contract for $50,000. We know we could dump it for $65,000 quickly as a wholesaling fee. Do you think if I went to, let's just say an investor we know, let's say they have the cash to take it down, and we said, hey, I would like to be part of this deal. I know you plan on keeping this as a long-term rental. If I give you it at what I have it under contract for, and you don't want to disclose what you have it under contract for until this person says yes, but if I were able to give it to you at the price I have it at, would you be willing to give me equity in this property with you? And what would you say if I market it to you for $65,000 and I'm telling you, hey, I'm going to be able to get it to you at a much lower price. Would you be willing to give me equity in the deal?
Well, knowing that you're probably going to save me at least $15,000, $20,000, I'm more than likely going to say yes, because what's a small percentage to save a huge upfront? Because now I have capital to go to another property.
Yeah. And, if somebody has a self-directed IRA, that particular strategy may or may not work. It just really depends on the rules, the laws, the regulations with the self-directed IRA. So I would just double check with the custodian there just to make sure that it would work. But say, for instance, Mike's coming in. He's got the cash. He's coming in. He sees that it's a really great deal. I say, hey, I've got it under contract for $50,000. I know right now you would be willing to pay $65,000, but I'm willing to put that aside, and I would like to have 5% of this deal.
Well, here's the way I'm looking at it, because if you sell, let's say I have $100,000 in the bank. This is what I have to play with. I have $100,000 to cash to play around with buying properties. I buy one off Jason for 65. I now have less than 50% capital left to invest into another property. Whereas if Jason says, hey, can you give me a small equity percentage? And I know he's going to save me probably 10, 15, 20 grand. I now have enough to potentially buy a second property at that same price range. Because as Jason knows, I buy properties between $50,000 and $60,000, and he sells me one for $60. I don't have enough to buy a second one. But if he sells me one for $50 and I could buy another one for $50, Jason might secure himself 2 equity position.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I was thinking, I'm like, oh well, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get you that other deal so we could deploy that other $50,000 for you. And the other thing too is I wouldn't just come out like me as the individual that is saying, hey, I could get you the deal at even a lower price if you're willing to give up some of the equity in there. Now, normally I would never say, hey, Mike, I want 5%. I want to hear from Mike what he's willing to give, right? It's all about sales and craftsmanship. And I'm actually giving Mike a solution here, right, Mike? I'm saving you $15,000 for having equity in the deal. Did I just solve a problem for you?
Well, yeah, absolutely. You got to think of these people that are buying property from you. Why are they buying property? It's an investment. They're trying to grow their portfolio. If they put all their eggs in one basket, well, they're not going to. First off, an investor, a smart investor, they're not going to. So if you give them an option so they can diversify more, they're going to take it.
No, exactly, Mike. And the really cool thing with being able to execute this is we are creating something that nobody else is really doing out on the market right now. We could be talking and having conversations right now with our cash buyers and creating wealth from owning real estate, and you don't even have to put a dime of your own money into it. Now, how we structure this is like this. You have an LLC, right, Mike?
I do.
So there's a roles, there's individuals that you could put on your LLC that have equity percentage in your LLC. Now, on an LLC, you could list out all of the individuals on your LLC, and you could have titles, roles, all that type of stuff. Normally, I just do managing member. Some people like to get fancy and do chief executive officer, that type of thing. That's more for like if you have a larger organization. But if you are just doing this on one particular property, so say, for instance, we use that, Mike, your LLC, and let's just say we named it after the property, 123 Main Street, Indianapolis, Illinois, LLC. That's the name of it. What would happen is you and I would come to an agreement. Mike, you would be the managing member at 80%, and then you and I negotiated that I would have 20% because I just gave you a $15,000 haircut.
And not on top of that, but you've also established some credibility with me because now you're going to take a $15,000 pay cut, and put your name on a property. So you wouldn't do that on a property that you didn't fully believe would convert.
Exactly. So that Mike also just brought up a gigantic point that normally if I was just doing this video by myself, I probably would have missed. So thank you, Mike.
Well, that's why we're here, because I'm the buyer and I'm thinking, okay, well, what is Jason doing for me? I trust him a little. I mean, if he's going to wipe away any potential profit he's going to make right up front and expect something on the back end, that means he's expecting something on the back end, which means this property that he's selling me is worth something. And that means every property that he sends me is going to be worth something.
Yeah, because even if I took 20% in the property and Mike, let's just say Mike wants to sell the property, I'm still only going to make 10 grand because 20% of $50,000 is $10,000.
Yeah.
So I'm at a point to where I'm still losing. But if I show Mike the benefit of, hey, I got it at 50. If we pour 5 into it, it's going to be worth 75 now. And we could get somebody paying, a really great market rate at maybe 14%.
Monthly cash flow, as opposed to your 10, 15, 20 grand, which don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong collecting your 20 grand. But when you can have something in the bank that is secure for 2 to 5 years, maybe longer, just depends on how many of these you rack up. That's a nice cash flow.
Well, now we just went from just collecting, 10, 15 grand, more than likely in this case, 15 grand. And what we also did was, instead of doing that, we decided to get 20% equity in a deal. Now, if we could do that multiple times, if you start seeing the benefit in that and you start saying, hey, Jason, I'll give you that on every deal that we do. Maybe Mike doesn't say on every deal we do, but maybe he says we could structure deals like that if you want moving forward on future deals, something like that. And what we start to do from that standpoint is we start to accumulate assets. We start to accumulate deals that are going to be bringing in monthly cash flow for us.
You start having the conversation with your cash buyer where they say, your credit's always good with me.
Oh, yeah. And now the huge thing that you start putting into place is you've got assets. You can go to the bank and you could start putting lines of credit with your bank. Now, these lines of credit, I would recommend do the mom and pop ones. So your local state banks are going to be the ones that look at your portfolio now. And they're like, okay, we see that you have this one, this one, this one. And they start looking and adding them all up. And they're like, yeah, we'll give you a credit line. That's how that works. That's how you start creating long-term wealth. And then you could start putting those lines of credit that are normally, at 3%, 2%. Some are really low. And now you start being able to get more properties. Now you start becoming owner instead of, hey, wholesaling. There's nothing wrong with it. We focus on wholesaling. We focus on fix and flip. And at the end of the day, we want to own. So that's why we also focus on our portfolio. Always work on building your portfolio. That's why we want to make a video that was slightly different and give you a little bit more of a taste of what we do besides wholesaling on our channel. So with that being said, one of the big things I would love to do is share and get more in depth on this strategy with you, because I think there's lots of value here. Would love to set up a time for us to chat. There's no obligation, no cost. There's nothing hidden about it. I would love to have like a 30-minute conversation with you. Go over to myblueprintcall.com and schedule a time. Mike, what can folks expect when they head on over to myblueprintcall.com?
I'll tell you what, Jason, the process is really simple. What you're going to find is really simple. First off, you see individuals who have attended our 2-day blueprint. We kind of give you some information on what we do on the 2-day blueprint. But most importantly is your chance to book a call and have us dive into your business and lay out how we build these blueprints out for other members and what it would look like for you. So whether you join our team or not, you're already a member of our community. You can take this call and start implementing this stuff right away. What we do on these videos, what we do on these calls, all comes, what we do with our own business, it all comes from this 2-day blueprint. And on this call, you get to take a chance to dive into it and start putting it to work in your business.
No, absolutely, Mike. I'm glad that you explained it that way. And, make sure you head on over, book your call or at myblueprintcall.com. Would love to talk to you. You're going to either talk to me, Mike, or Jason Palliser. We would love to chat with you. The other thing is, make sure you leave a number 1 below if you enjoyed this information, and leave a number 3 if you would like more follow-up about it, because we're seeing a huge market bubble burst right now, especially with the foreclosures increasing, pre-foreclosures increasing. So if you would like us to dive a little bit more deeper on those topics, let us know. Because sometimes as YouTube creators, we're like, oh man, what is going to be something that people really want to hear about right now? And we don't know all of the time. We have to do some research, and sometimes it takes a little bit to come out with good quality content. We don't want to just be one of those individuals that just slaps mud up against the wall to see if it sticks. Normally it slides down. So on our channel, we love giving you information that you could take and you could start using in your business. So make sure you drop a number 1 below if you enjoyed today's content, or a number 3. I'm going to reach out to you personally when you leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, my friend. Make sure you give us a big thumbs up on today's video. Make sure you become a subscriber of the channel if you aren't already part of our growing community. You only help us grow, and YouTube recognizes us and starts getting us out there more and more. We love you for that. So huge thanks. Hit that notification bell as well so that you get notified of when brand new videos like this are released. Other than that, thank you so much for your time today. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye.